Hey North Carolina DECA, welcome back to the NC DECA Toolbox series. My name is Rompet Luri, I'm your association president, and today we're going to be hearing some tips and a mock roleplay from former ICDC champion Andrew Voelsing. Let's get into it. All right, North Carolina DECA, welcome to the roleplay example for our NC DECA Toolbox. I'm here with
My name's Andrew Voelsing. I'm a Cox Middle DECA alumni.
and Andrew, tell us a little bit about where you go to college now and your accomplishments in DECA.
So I was in DECA for 4 years. I won glass at states all 4 years, and then my senior year, I went on to win first place at regional, states, and internationals in restaurant food service management. And now I am going to be a sophomore at MIT. So, yeah.
Yep. So Andrew's clearly done a lot. If you didn't catch that, that was ICDC champion his senior year. And so Andrew's going to give us his top three role play tips, and then we're going to head into a example role play from Andrew. So Andrew, go ahead and give us your top three role play tips.
Yeah, of course. So the big thing for the role play, and I would say 80% of the role play comes down to the way you present yourself and how confident you are. So even if you mess up, you miss one of your like critical examples that you wanted to hit on, or you stumble across your words for a little bit, as long as for most of the role play, you're talking clearly, you're making eye contact with the judges, you're not rushing, all those basic things that we talk about with those communication skills, those soft skills are really what matters the most for your score and how the judge finds you memorable. And I would say beyond that, my second biggest tip is you need to be unique. So when you're giving a suggestion, like you'll see in this practice role play, your suggestions and is what's going to set you apart from the other competitors, especially at ICDC when everyone is really good and personable and they speak really well and speak really clearly. At the end of the day, it comes down to whoever has the best recommendations for the judge or for the role play scenario. That's who's going to win at the end of the day. Because when you judge events, at the end of the day, you have a stack of papers of all the score sheets from the people you've judged, but you don't necessarily assign a final score. And then you're looking through and you're just a name on a page. But if you had a really unique value proposition or something really unique that you suggested to them, they're going to remember, oh, this one was really great. And they're going to give you their top score of the day. So tip number two would be unique. And then tip number three, and this was one of my favorite things that I did, and it helped me stand out senior year and helped me win a lot, was doing industry research ahead of time. So I compete in restaurant food service management was my event. So I would go ahead before each competition and I would look at upcoming trends in the restaurant industry and I would read through some of those. So I would look at like new POS systems that were coming out. I would look for like new marketing strategies and then like trends in consumer trends, both with like Gen Z and also with older generations. So I was able to pull out quick facts and actual real research in the role play, and that would help me back up my points with statistics.
Sure. Yeah, no, all of that's great, but now it's time to see it in practice. And so we're going to do a mock role play. I will be the judge. Andrew, you will be the participant, and let's put the scenario on the screen.
Hey, how are you today?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. My name is Andrew Voelsing, and I'm representing the National Blueberry Council. And I'm so thankful that you and the rest of the staff at Clayton's have given us a chance to partner and hopefully bring some really new, awesome dishes to the table.
Thank you
So,
so much. Yeah.
yeah, so of course, you guys have, you're a little skeptical because we've been a little unsuccessful with our marketing in restaurants such as yourself that don't necessarily carry breakfast items on the menu, and that's absolutely fair. But I believe I've come to you with two really great suggestions that are going to help us not only benefit your restaurant by providing special sales and marketable new dishes on your menu, but also it's going to help us by getting word about the National Blueberry Council and the quality of our product out there as well. So I'm glad we can form a mutually beneficial relationship here. But before I get into my recommendations for the menu, I think it's really important that we understand the factors that influence buying behavior because that's ultimately why I've made these two dishes my recommendations to you and also how I've kind of geared our marketing strategy that'll really help your staff get the word out there and help drive sales of these two products. And so for the factors that influence buying behavior in both with customers and in industry, I think it really comes down to perception of value. Because when you're, especially a restaurant such as yourself, waiters are going around, they're reading off the specials. But for you, who is, more of a low-key restaurant, you guys aren't trying to market yourself as something high-end or something expensive. For a low-key restaurant, especially customers that are coming in are going to be wanting to see this dish and be like, wow, that sounds really good, and it's not going to, cost me a fortune. So I'd love to try that. And for perception of value, that also kind of it comes down to the spending mood that customers are in when they come in your restaurant. So because you guys aren't a high-end restaurant, you can't necessarily price dishes way up in that higher $20, $30 price point. You want to keep them low cost for the customers, but also you want to keep them low cost for yourselves in terms of what ingredients you're going to have to source so you can keep your margins low. And then the other thing that comes down to is occasion. Since you guys are a lunch and dinner restaurant and you're more low key, you don't want to do these big fancy dishes, as I said. So with that in mind and those factors, the two dishes that I'm recommending we put on the menu at Clayton's is a blueberry mocktail. As we've seen, mocktails have been really taking off in the restaurant industry because they're very, very popular with kids as they're a non-alcoholic option. So like a blueberry lemonade mocktail. For adults, when they see that, they think, wow, that's a really good non-alcoholic option. That's something that I can add to my dish or pair with my dish. It's going to be really delicious and refreshing, especially in summer. But for kids, they just see that as blueberry lemonade and they love that just as much. So that allows us to pander to both our primary target market and also our secondary target market. And also we've seen in the industry that especially drinks such as mocktails, when we don't have to include alcohol in them, it really keeps the margins extremely low. So when we're selling them for $4 or $5 a piece, but it's only going to cost us 20 to 30 cents to make, that's really, really great compared to some of our more expensive dishes. And with the second thing I'm recommending we add to the menu is not necessarily main entree, but something that will accompany and go on several of your main entrees. So when you have things like meatloaf, you have some sandwiches on there, and also the pork loin. I think those would go really well with a blueberry compote. So we take our blueberries and then we boil them down into like a thick sauce. And then I'm sure you've had it, such as restaurants like IKEA, where they have like a lingonberry jam that they accompany with their dishes. It's super popular and a lot of people love it. And for the same reasons, it has that low margin for us. So it's not going to cost us that much to make, but it elevates your dishes to the next level. So when people are considering ordering the pork loin, but they don't want, a dry pork loin that they're going to dip in ketchup or barbecue sauce, you spice it up a little bit and make it seem a little bit more high end with that blueberry compote. You can still keep the price low on it, but it's going to look like a more upscale option, which provides, once again, that higher perception of value. And so with these two things that I've laid out, and what I've suggested to you is I think we're able to sell those for the very reasons I put out to you. We're able to sell those ideas to others very, very well and very efficiently to customers that are coming in for the low-key vibe of Clayton's. And I think when it comes down to that, what's going to be really important for your wait staff is providing the unique value proposition, or the UVP. So being able to tell them that this is a super fresh, even use the word summer beverage, and be able to put them on the menu and spice up the language when you're presenting them as their specials. And also, I really think it's important. One of my favorite things we've done with other restaurants is the National Blueberry Council will come in and we'll put on a tasting at your restaurant, and we'll bring a lot of fresh blueberries, and then we'll also bring what's necessary, and we'll make this blueberry lemonade mocktail, and the staff can all try it. And then the same thing with the blueberry compote, and your staff can all come and try the dishes, and we'll have a special day. That way they can go out and provide a personable firsthand experience that will help sell it to the customers even more. And so all of that goes along with the actions our employees can take. Once again, the honest recommendations. So saying, I've tried the blueberry lemonade and it's absolutely delicious. It's so refreshing on a hot summer day like this. That is a firsthand, that's ethos and that's pathos that our employees and our wait staff are able to sell to customers. And also that comes along with just the basic ideas that we should be pushing to your wait staff all the time, which is upselling. So if somebody orders, just a meatloaf off the menu, would you like to try our new special? It's a meatloaf with this blueberry compote. And then we're able to upsell them to a more expensive option. And then finally, another thing that I've found to be really successful with some of our other restaurants is targeted selling. So if you have more inventory of one thing, so say you have more meatloaf than you do pork loin on a certain night, you can sell those certain dishes by saying, when they set them at the table, hey, can I get you guys started with something to drink, or some recommendations on the menu? And then you're able to recommend those things. So upselling and targeted selling is really huge. And then finally, with these very practical applications in place. I'm sure it's going to be a very successful campaign, and I'm sure these dishes are going to do very well at Clayton's. But also, I think it's really important for us to be able to look long term at the demonstrable connections between our actions and the results of them. So, with that, we want to be able to quantify and measure exactly what we're looking at. So, I recommend looking at we want to sell X amount of specials per cover. So if you have 100 covers in a night, so you're serving 100 tables, maybe we set a smart and reasonable goal and we set that as something that is achievable. And we say we want to have 25 out of 100 covers ordering the special. So something quantifiable like that, that way we can look at the long-term results. And if we tweak our marketing strategy, we can see the long-term effect that has. So at this point, if you have any questions, if you want to ask about the dishes or any of the marketing strategies, I'm open to that. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much for your presentation. I definitely like to try the blueberry compote. I do have a couple questions for you. You might have touched on them, but I'll still ask you. And the first is, will your menu ideas be easy for our kitchen staff to prepare, or will extensive training be needed?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the reason I suggested these two things is because they're so easy for the kitchen staff and they're also very easy for your management who's having to put in the truck orders each week because they're not going to add that many ingredients. They're working with what we already have, so you don't have to add specialty ingredients to the line. And they're very easy and very simple to make for the kitchen staff and add to the menu without any fuss.
Sure. And then do you feel that your menu ideas are year-round or seasonal additions to our menu?
Yes, so that's the beautiful thing about the National Blueberry Council is we are able to source blueberries year round. So something like a blueberry lemonade might be popular in the summer, and then in the winter and the fall, you can kind of change up the menu, and we could even do seasonal specials moving forward. That way, it keeps them truly special, so you're able to rotate them out.
And then finally, what can we offer restaurants to encourage their staff to support the use of fresh berries on the menu?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the good things. Like I mentioned, you guys are a smaller chain. You have 125 locations. It's really feasible for us to be able to go and, like I said, do a blueberry day where come out and we'll support that. It's no extra work on your staff. It's no extra work on you. We'll come out and support that, let all the staff taste that, and that way they're able to kind of have a personable connection to the product.
Sure. I really like the idea of a blueberry day, and I appreciate your entire presentation, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.